We'll do it live.
I believe we're live. Anybody out there, let me know. Oh yeah, we got. I don't know if Pepe's still on. Tim Basco, how you doing, buddy? Yeah, we'll let everybody trickle in here and stuff, and get the show on the road, man. I really appreciate you coming by, buddy.
Glad we do this. We're all trying to do it live, and we'll just yell like Bill O'Reilly. We'll do it live.
Yeah, we'll do it live. We'll do it live. Yeah, man. Hey, we try to get crack up here, man. I mean, there's some humor getting thrown around, so you're gonna fit right in. By the way, I'm eating a piece of pizza.
Yeah,
you're drinking beer. I'm eating a piece of pizza. It's like
this is my specialties right here.
I wonder if they're American.
I don't know if you guys ever drink these ones.
Man, I've drank every beer. I don't think I've seen the one there on that you just held up for. But
they're both non-alcoholics, and this is I guess Total Wine and More. This is their store one, Penn's Best out of New York.
Nice.
And this is just a Busch non-alcoholic.
Yeah.
Which isn't too bad.
Yeah. Hey Pat. Hey Nate. How y'all doing?
Let me go grab I need to go grab my charger because I think this eats up the battery pretty quick.
It does. It does. Yeah. Whatever you want to do, man. Totally no pressure. Hey everybody. Mama Taz, how you doing? I'm sitting here eating pizza. He's drinking beer. It's non-alcoholic beer, but it looks cool. Thanks, Nate. You like my Iron Horse hat? I'm just kidding. I say that every time. Yeah, I eat some pizza. Kimball, he went to go grab his charger, but hey, Andre, how you doing, buddy? Yeah, Bellhopper's wild thing is going to be nasty. Yeah, I mean, it already is. I was talking to him earlier. We were chatting and on video, and he was telling me he was showing me them roller nose bars. He's thinking about putting this like 16-inch roller nose bar on there. That'd be awesome. Yeah, I saw Buck and got let's split this video up. Isn't that awesome? That's how important it is. Hey Josh, what's up, my guy? That's what they say in Kentucky, I'm sure. My guy? No. Kidding, man. Yeah, we're just letting everybody trickle in and grab a beverage and a nice salty snack, and we'll start entertaining you here in a minute. Journey North is in the house. John Bob Millwright's here too. Man, we're getting some famous people in here now. They're all famous to me.
Okay. You can still hear me? How's that?
Yeah. You guys hear him okay out there? Oh, that sounds fantastic.
I got a wired headset here, so versus the my backyard. I'm in a little development here in Arizona, so people don't have to listen to me talk chainsaws.
No, we know what the truth is, okay? You don't have to lie. It's because you own chainsaws and they don't want you to be loud, so you're on alert. It's like, I'm just watching you, man. You fire me your chainsaws up one more time, and I don't call you on noise ordinance.
They haven't called me yet. I try not to do it too much, but I thought I picked this up just randomly. I thought we could start off with a good chainsaw oil, two-stroke oil discussion.
Yes, man. Hey, seriously. I know you're all about that, and I want to get into all that, man. You're into like chainsaws, axes, the oils, you're into freaking boots. Like, does Red Wing freaking sponsor you or what, bro?
They've sent me. Who was it? I think they gave me a couple discounts, but nothing too big. I think the best sponsor I got was probably from Holzforma, from the Chinese. The Blue Lightnings. They've never given me free stuff. They gave me some discounted half off saws. They sent me, I think I made the video. I was the first one to get their it's their little, what
It
is
was a
the chain?
smaller saw, wasn't it?
Yeah, is that the 020, 022, 020? The
Yeah.
two, whatever it was. I can't even think of it right now. But I was the first one to get it, and I made a video real quick and posted it. I was excited, the first one to have it in the States.
Yeah.
And so I posted that. But then I really tried to get the 880 the 888.
Oh yeah.
But they already had dealerships set up, so the dealerships got those first. But that's okay. I kind of hadn't made any videos in a long time, so but they did send me a contract they wanted me to sign to be
What?
an exclusive like video developer for them, but I could only do theirs, and
Oh yeah.
they really didn't pay that much. And I'm really interested in the nanotech, neotech.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
I'm the guy on that. Don't be stealing my thunder. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding,
Well,
man.
no, I seen your stuff, and that's kind of like, it's be interesting to kind of go the side by side or do a neotech and their new black version, whatever that black version that Holtz Forma has.
Yeah, they call that their pro
Yeah.
model. Yeah, and Neotech might have something in the works going to make that look.
Oh boy, that's cool.
So, yeah. We'll
they're
chat after this.
No, they always say, like, even when they came out with their chains, they said they claimed that the steel or the chain links or the teeth were made in Germany, and I just couldn't wrap my mind around that. I'm just like, that's okay, but to me, I don't know if that was. I didn't want to call them liars, but I'm just like, that's kind of
who is this?
That's Holtz Forma.
Okay. Oh, I know
Farmer
that.
Tech.
Neotech, their top ends, I believe their cylinder and their pistons are either German made or another country, Italy. I think it's Italian, and I think, and also they come with Walbro carburetors. Can you believe that?
Well, that's what they say. Yeah, and I'm almost they're the kings of copy. Are they just copying another thing, or are they legit doing it? Is it the whole Forma said they use Caber rings, which are Italian made, I believe.
All that, yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, maybe they are. Maybe they're just doing a huge shipment. They're shipping from Italy to China, and from China, to me, it's like, well, why?
Like a lot of not to interrupt you, just like all these other guys are saying, it's like it's getting to be where everything comes from the same place, and you know where I'm talking about. And in the world right now, that's not a big, nice topic, but
yeah.
So hey, why don't you tell everyone kind of, because you've been in the game for a long time, man. You were like one of the original dudes, like really pushing, like not just saws like Dalmar and stuff.
I'll give you my chainsaw story. So I guess
please, man.
I'm 41. My family moved around a bunch. We lived in New Mexico, Silver City area, Gila National Forest, and my dad wanted to get these Vegas, these big beams, and so we drove up into the forest one day, and he just so happened stumbled upon some contractors that were cutting down, doing some forest thinning, and they were probably some 8-inch beams. And so I think they were required to cut them down and slash them up. And my dad gave him a case of beer and said, well, let me load up these big old, 14 footers. And
the good old days.
Yeah, seriously. Like, he just loaded them up. He went and actually made a contraption that he could, like, with wheels, where he could, like, a saddle and wheel it down and drag it. And I was 11 or 12 at the time. And so I think he had.
Hey, Kimball, just real quick. Someone said they wanted to see what was written on my cup.
Okay. That's hilarious. Did you do that with a Sharpie?
You don't remember sending me that?
Yeah. That's hilarious.
That was hard to come by, buddy.
Where do you get those made at, man?
Holtz Forma makes these.
Oh, that's hilarious.
you allowed that, right? Something you signed or something? No.
Nope.
It's hard because I got this slide. It's hard to see. There it is.
There it is. Nice. You're trying to throw that out. I wasn't even seeing that. That's funny. That's hilarious.
Sorry, man. I'm
you're
like the king of ADHD. Go
No,
ahead.
you're good.
Oh,
So yeah.
so
It-
yeah.
so no, my first foray was that my dad had a little, I don't know, Craftsman 3.0 or something, and he didn't even use it much. Those guys did most of the work. So when I finally ventured out, I would say it was, I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago. I finally just was like, I need a chainsaw, and my first one was just a 455 Rancher.
Yeah.
And then I had to go pick up a pickup truck, and so we started cutting wood, just cookies, rounds. And
Yeah.
my wife was selling those on Marketplace, and she was selling them for like 3, 4, $5 each, and we made a good amount of money doing that. And I just kept doing that. I had to upgrade and started researching them, researching the saws, and I went from the I think I sold that. I think I got an Echo. I didn't even keep that very long. And then I went and I think I picked up a Makita 6421 at Home Depot. And so from
Nice.
there, I went and put a top end, got a top end on it, made it a 7900.
Did you do?
And
Okay.
then,
Yeah.
and then before that, I actually did pick up an old 76.
I can't see you.
And am I glitching out?
An
Am I still here?
076 steel, you say?
I think it was 076, or it was when it was a 050.
The
Maybe it
big
was
one.
an 050. Yeah. And so I got one of those, and it had no pressure. So I think I was on these forums, and I was just asking around, and
That's cool.
people were like, "Well, take a look at it." And I think I ordered some rings. I re-ringed it, and it worked fine. And I flipped that. Then I got onto Alibaba, and I think this was before.
Oh, man. Dang, man.
So Alibaba was doing the 660 clones, and I remember calling and messaging back and forth with China, and I was like, I don't know, and they would only take what is it, Western Union money order, and I was like, oh man, I'm gonna get ripped off. It was like $350, I think it was, and so I was like, I'm gonna do it. I don't care. And I did the $350, and I went to the Western Union. The Western Union lady was like, you need to be careful of scammers. I was like, no, I'm aware of it. I sent them over the money. They sent me back the receipt, and a couple weeks later, I got the saw. And I think that's one of my videos there. So that was before Holtz Farmer Tech was even around. And so I got this saw, and I started slabbing with it. And
Yeah.
from there, there was what is his name? He's been doing it longer than me. He's on. What is his name? Not the farm boat guy, but the he has the really long breakdown. I think he's in Wisconsin somewhere. Why can't I think of his name?
I know.
Anyways,
I think of it. Who is it?
What is his name? He's had the videos up for a long time, and he did the same thing where he got the Alibaba saws before Farmer Tech, and he was doing the so yeah, from there it just kind of went into every time I'd see something pop up on Marketplace or on Craigslist or whatever, I'd go pick up a saw for $150 and flip it or sell it, and kind of got into some forums. And
yeah, hey, I'm gonna stop you real quick here. Hey, tonight we're going to donate any super chats to Kimball Cody and his family. I will I'll get some picks in the name of Chippy though. Guitar
awesome.
picks he's talking about. I was playing the other night, didn't have guitar picks.
Oh, okay. Sweet. No, I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that so much. Thank you.
Yeah, it's really cool. And after they hear your story and stuff, maybe they'll see kind of what we're getting at there. But yeah, so keep going with your saw story, man. I want to hear.
That was probably from 8 years ago. Like I was saying with my 450, and kind of started going from there. And then I think Joe Johnson out of Colorado, and I think he's up in Oregon, Washington right now. I'd call him up a bunch, and he'd let him, he'd always be posting cool videos, and from there, haven't really gotten to the modifying. I've tried to grind on a couple here and there. I bought some cheapo Chinese ones and kind of ground on them a little bit. But other than that, I've been just kind of the past few months or a few years, it's kind of been a little bit slower. But I've actually just started selling a bunch. I had a bunch just sitting, and so I posted them and just been selling them just to kind of clear my son went and counted up all of them. He's like, Dad, I count 31 saws, and I'm like, okay, let's thin that herd down.
Yep.
And I'm not a huge. I mean, I would definitely I fit the mold of a weekend warrior. Where I've made money from it, slabbing, cutting slabs. You see right behind me here. Here's some eucalyptus slabs.
Dude, I've watched all your videos. You have some great videos. Like I was telling that's like I was saying at the beginning. You're one of the original guys that, you know, back when, you know, there were not that many people into chainsaws, and I like it is now, and in, you know, all the things that you do. And I mean, how long have you been in the game, like the YouTube game?
So I think my YouTube is 11 years old. I posted some videos a while back, and then I never monetized it. I monetized it late, and I guess what had happened was I monetized it when if you go at the very beginning, I couldn't find a video on how to change the valve covers on my 1995 4Runner, second gen with the 3.0. And it has the manifold that goes over it. So you have your driver's side valve covers that you can get off, but to get underneath to your the passenger side, you have to pull the whole manifold off. And there's all these vacuum lines and everything and EGR. And I was like, what the heck? I don't even know how to do it. So I looked around. I finally found a guy that he included it in, but not saying it's for the valve covers. And all you had to do was remove some stuff, and it just pancakes open. It just opens up like a sandwich, and you just prop it out of the way. So that saved me a ton of time, so I don't have to take off all the vacuum lines on one end. And so I was like,
that was the day that you officially became a YouTube mechanic, is what you're saying.
Yeah, just, you know, I was like, I'm going to do this because if anything, I'm going to post it. I think it's in 10 different videos, like 5 minutes each, just to show somebody else.
I saw the video.
And so, yeah, I did that. And that's kind of when people started messaging me. And I don't know if I monetized it then. And then I just, right after that, I did like an LL Bean video with some LL Bean, some boots that I bought picked up at Goodwill or something.
You know where, I mean, I keep interrupting you. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. No, you're good.
The video I very first saw of yours is like this huge viral 1 million something views video with making charcoal in your backyard. If anyone out there has ever seen that video, there's a 55-gallon drum. He shows you how to make charcoal in your backyard. He's like the guy who like invented that. No, but he's the guy that the first guy that put all that out. He's the guy.
The charcoal one. I'm looking at it. It's actually right over here in front of me. It's right over here.
Oh yeah, yeah. That was the very first video I saw of yours. I'm like, man, this dude's cool. And I started, you know, going through all your stuff.
Yeah. So I've been it's funny because it's just passively been growing and growing. And even at the beginning of this year, I'm like, I'm gonna do one video a week. And I just stuff happens. And then I did a video.
Like, no, you're not.
Yeah, so but yeah, that's kind of how it happened. I was just like, I like doing this, and so I did it. And it's funny, the guys at work used to be like, man, you're a weirdo. And I'd always tell them. So one of the videos that I was watching back in the day was like reviewing it was some Danner boots, and I was looking at them. I was like looking, I couldn't, and there was one guy that showed, I was like, okay, he showed like lacing them up, and I was like, okay, cool. Then he's all stomping around in the water and everything. I was like, okay, they're Gore-Tex, you know, mud and everything. And he's all like hiking around, and it was only like, it was like the boot level. So he wasn't talking or anything. And the next thing you know, it shows him sitting up in like the corner of a room. He's like in the corner, and it just shows from here down, and he takes off his shoes and he starts rubbing his socks all over his muddy boots. I'm like, that's a little strange. Okay.
That's a little strange. I definitely got to watch all this.
Yeah, I was like, no. And then it was like a full-on foot fetish video. And I was like, of course, YouTube, you know, safe. But I was like, oh, okay, that's who's watching my boot videos. And so the guys at work would always joke and be like, show us your feet. And so that was one thing. I was like, I will never show my bare feet in a video, just because, you know, I don't want people doing things to my videos. So
yeah. Hey, if I do this, can you still see me?
Let's see.
You still see me right now, or no?
I'm still seeing you right now. Yeah.
Okay, hold on, because they're asking for the link to your YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Give me 1 second. I'm gonna get.
Yeah,
that.
you can throw it up there.
Yeah. Let's see. I just had it here too. Well, I'm gonna type everything back in. Give me a second here.
I think it's youtube.com/Kimball Cody, all one word, I think, right?
Yeah, but so they can just click it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm used to doing this on my phone. I'm like, where's everything at?
Yeah.
Here we
I wonder
go.
why my phone has. So what about you? What is your chainsaw story?
Mine, just, I grew up, processing wood for heat, firewood, here in Indiana. So you're down south in Arizona, right? Oh
Yeah,
my
I'm in
God.
Mesa.
So pretty much, you're right. So pretty much the trees are like cutting rocks, right?
Well, we have a ton of different, in the metropolitan area. I'm in the Phoenix area. We got eucalyptus, we have mesquite, we have
that's
just
hard
so
stuff.
many varieties of like really hard woods, and even the mesquite here. People think the mesquite's really hard. It's a Chilean mesquite in town, and so it's a pretty soft wood compared to eucalyptus. Dried eucalyptus wood is some of they call that gum wood. That gum in Australia. It is a dense, hard wood.
Right.
It's crazy how hard it is.
That's crazy, man. So no. Anyway, to answer your question, I just basically grew up, processing firewood. My father taught me how to do all that stuff. Bought me a little home light chainsaw about that big, and I still have that saw, by the way, and it runs.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and taught me how to split, how to live off the land, and all that good old Hank Williams Jr. song.
Yeah. No, that's been my kind of. I've always just. There's something I think about a chainsaw and about fireworks and about guns that I think it's just that two-stroke, that pound, the boom, boom, boom. I think that really does, like, it goes to a base, like, fight or flight type of response. And then, that's why guns and fire and fireworks, I think for men, I think chainsaws is why guys, with Harley Davidsons and vehicles, it's just that.
Sure.
Use that tool and just to do something with it. But
I'm a musician and I like cranking up my amp to 10, and I get it. I
think looking back is the big thing for me. I found somehow stumbled upon a chainsaw mill, Alaskan mill.
Oh yeah,
and that's what really just like.
I saw some of your milling videos. Yeah, that's right.
And that's kind of was what I was like, wow, you can make your own wood. And that was what really pushed me into like into getting and researching the different saws of what they can be done, what they can do. And so that was kind of my the impetus into growing. But I was talking with a buddy and he was like, oh, I was mentioning chainsaws. He's like, oh, you mean like carving the bears? And I'm like, no, that's like isn't it strange that it's like it's a completely different group of people. Like those people.
Isn't it weird? You had mentioned that earlier. Isn't it weird? People do think you're weird. It's like, it's just, it's a tool, it's not, is it really that weird to like chainsaws and axes and mills and, but yeah, it is. You think about it kind of on the outside looking in, you're like, interesting, yeah.
But even then, like the guys, at least in my experience, the guys that cut teddy bears out of logs, they don't really mix with the guys that cut it for firewood or a slab. It's completely different group of guys.
Absolutely. Or ice carvers or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's some ice carvers that I know, and they come here to close to my town every year, and no. But hey, so I got to ask, not change subject. This had came up on the thing and I lost it, but it was what is your favorite brand, or if you don't have one favorite brand, favorite brands of chainsaw?
My go-to chainsaw right now is my Makita Dolmar 7910. And then my second one that I carry, I mean, I always take 2 or 3 when I go cutting wood. I've never had like a catastrophic failure when I've been out in the mountains or something that shut it down, but I always, have a backup, and the backup to the backup. If I'm cutting with somebody else, I at least have 3. And then so right now I have my my Echo 620, and so those are the
love that saw.
And then I just I have an 066. I haven't really cut with much. I have my Chinese 660s. Those are mostly dedicated to my mills. I have a couple mills I use.
Right.
I have an 880 that I'll slide on the mill when I go above
So
4
basically,
feet.
what you're saying is you don't have a particular favorite saw. It's just whatever task you're at, you have a favorite saw. You know, whatever you're doing, what kind of wood or whatever.
Yeah, and I'll pick up a 372 and a 461, and I don't have any experience with the 62s or with the 572s, but like I've never been one to be brand specific. I know like Dodge, Ford,
Yeah.
this and that. I mean, I grew up mostly Toyotas and stuff and Volvos, and I have an F-250 in 1990 that I work on. I'd love to get a first gen Cummins, and I'd probably, even if I had the money and time,
12
I'd
valve.
I'd put a 4BT
Yeah.
or 6BT in my 1990 F2, make it a
Yeah.
Cummins, but yeah, I've never. It's funny. It's fun to like stir the pot of getting people like, my steel is better than your Husqvarna, and
I
then
tell
most
you
of those,
what.
they don't know
That's
anything about Dolmar, and so you can talk Dolmar, and then when they see it, it really is the blend of both worlds. The Dolmar kind of has.
It is.
So
Echo is really stepping their game up too, man. That 620 really turned my head.
yeah, even that 590. I just tell
Yes.
people like, I don't know what it's like over there, but here in the Phoenix area, I don't know if they fall off of trucks, but you can get an in the box brand new 590 off of OfferUp or Craigslist for like $250 at times.
Oh, at Craigslist or something. Yeah. So new, they're like $399 retail-ish. And
Yep.
I continue to say that. I've said it for years. It's the best saw that you can get for the money. I still think the 590 is.
Yeah, I think the 590. I mean, if you're thinking it's firewood saw. And it's not a homeowner saw. It's kind of like mid-grade pro, but it's not going to be your clamshell plastic, your 455 or your 290 or your 390, 391.
Yeah.
And so
real quick here, Kimball. Sorry. Chippy said, let's help Doug raise some donations, acts of kindness. Thank you.
Sweet.
Appreciate that, man. Yeah.
Thank you, Chippy.
All
acts
donations.
of kindness. I like that.
Yeah. Isn't that cool?
Yep.
Yeah, all super chats are going to be donated to Kimball Cody and his family tonight.
I appreciate that so much.
We're talking
so $20. So $20 Canadian. What is that, like $250 American? No,
I don't know. No,
I'm kidding. I know there's a conversion rate. I love my Canadian neighbors.
Yeah.
So
man, some of the best people in this community, it seems like, are from Canada.
Yep. That brings up here real quick. Acts of kindness. I'm in my backyard real quick. Hold on.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's into axes too, guys. But what do you got?
Okay, this is my my Holtzbrook. I think I did a video on this or two. This one's been used a little bit, but it's my my splitting axe.
Oh, that's beautiful, man.
I think I bought this on. I should probably do more videos on where I get my stuff. This was on Sierra Trading Post. They're like an overstock.
Well, let me get my pen. Sierra Trading Post.
SierraTradingPost.com. They have a lot of Carhartt stuff. They have a lot of they do have Red Wing stuff too. I think that's how I found them. They're out of Cheyenne, Wyoming, and so they get either seconds or overstock, and then a lot of it's just a ton of outdoor stuff. And every so often they'll get these. They'll have axes and stuff. And this one is the made in Sweden, 2 pound, 1.9 kilogram. HB Holtzbrook. So I love this.
Beautiful, man. Oh gosh, that's a nice looking little axe right there.
So I don't know if because of the stamp, if that made it a second, if that's their natural stamp, if they just had too many of them.
It doesn't matter. If it's got a stamp like that, it's worth more than one that doesn't have a stamp.
And I think I paid $60 for this, and it's probably
wow.
Some people might get mad because it has seen a little bit of weather, but
you know what? That's what they're for. Just like chainsaws. I have a Solo 681. I know you know what that is.
Yeah.
And it's new old stock, the original first series 681, and it's still in the box. Never had gas in it, but I just got it, and that's hard. What would you do if you had that saw?
I guess that's the next question is like, what would we do with that? And then at what point are we going to be sitting here thinking about these Makita 7900s that we wish we'd have had a couple in the box because allegedly they're done and they just whatever's on our shipping or whatever has been shipped or that's it.
Yeah.
So do we go and spend $800?
Yeah, another month almost to the date. Dolmar Makita, whatever, will in production on all gasoline 2-stroke equipment. I mean, pretty
Yeah.
much.
So do we go out and buy one just to shelve it and have that shelf queen that we keep for like the solos? I mean, that's tough. Do you run your solo or?
It is. I don't know. I mean, I have never had a shelf queen. I've always had a saw to run it, I mean,
Yeah.
so it's so hard. And plus I don't want to, and Tasman Kenny Fuller, he said the other day, he was like, you know what, Doug, you don't want to look back, when you're not able to run a chainsaw and say, man, I wish I would have ran that saw.
Oh, that's true.
That's hard. It's hard.
Yeah. In 30 years when we're in our 70s, late 60s, 70s, and I don't know, I plan to live to 100.
Here. He said, Dino Joe's here. Look what he said. He said, you mean people have favorite saws? No, I mean, basically that's what he's saying. He can't really pick a favorite. And I understand that. We have the same personality type with that. They're all fun, man. I mean, I'll take a wild thing and love it. I'll do something with it.
Well, I look at it like this. My mom used to we would get, as young kids, get like a thing of cologne for Christmas, and she's like, now only use it on special occasions. And so a few years would go by and it would go sour, it'd go bad. And so I tell my kids, I'm like, if you get a gift or if you get something, then use it, right? I mean, use it while you can. So I guess it's the same thing. Same thing with like leather boots, guys. Just keep them so nice. I'm just like, go out and use them, dust them off, use them for back in the day, 100, 150 years ago, our ancestors would have one pair of shoes. Sure. And they'd polish them on Sunday and they'd work in them on Monday all the way through the week. And so, yeah, I'd say the same thing, use it, but it's not like that's your one only saw, but,
right.
Yeah, it's kind of tough to see. I mean, same thing with those guys. Some guys have those 660s, but then they're still making them in Brazil, which is interesting. So you can get the original steel 660s and, but yeah, the solos, they don't make them. I'm just trying to, like your solo is just like, yeah, those definitely aren't being made anywhere else. So
no. And, to have a new old stock of the original first series, it's a hard decision, but Andre here, BOBE888 says the last shipments are done. Talking about Nikita, Belmark and Nikita, I believe, because he just got a Husqvarna 592. Hope he's not talking about that, because I know those flew off the shelf.
Yeah. So I guess what are your thoughts on the auto tunes? Are those just going to kind of go a wayside because it seems like everyone's going back carbureted?
I don't know. What do you think? I know that's one reason I like Echo. It makes it more simple, and you don't have to be dependent on someone for firmware and things like that. You don't have to, the dealer. Like if something goes, I mean, you can fix it all right in your garage if it's not electronic like that.
Well, someone was showing me that the 661 is now coming out with the carb option here in the United States, which was unheard of. That was like years ago. I remember guys buying the whole kit for an extra $300 from Europe and shipping it over here and refurbing them, taking out the electronics.
Andre has the 592. Andre, did you say that the 585 had the regular carburetor, non-electronic? I can't remember. Sorry. Charles Briscoe's in the house too. How you doing, buddy? Justin Weaver, Jesse Harmon, Butler Outdoors Canada. You got another Canadian guy here, man. He's awesome. Andrew, Nate Olmstead, Weaver, John Bob Millwright, Mama Taz still here. Basco's still here. Thanks for hanging out, guys.
Thanks for coming by.
Yeah, man, it's awesome. So I pretty much got your thoughts on clones. That was one of my questions. And the boots. So what got you into boots so much? You were actually what makes a good boot? I'm in this position right now. What makes a good boot a bad boot?
I guess I'll answer what got me into it and what makes a good bad boot.
Yeah.
I got so my dad was a shoe repairman for a while when I was growing up.
Wow.
So he did that. He bought and sold a couple shops, brought them up and sold them. And then when my grandfather on my mom's side retired as a shop teacher, he had nothing to do. So my dad taught him shoe repair, and he did shoe repair for 20 years after he retired as a teacher. Cool.
What's the name for that?
Just a cobbler.
Cobbler. Yeah, that's right.
So,
Maybe.
so that's an old world. I guess cobbler does both build and repair shoes, but my dad was just a
Okay.
straight shoe repairman. And
Okay.
so, growing up, I was not always, but that smell of rubber cement and leather and the machines like always brought me back. And so, I would say probably 10 years ago, I was looking up. I was like, I need some good combat boots. And I was looking them up, and I looked up this Danner Rat boot, RAT, rugged all-terrain. It was one that they made specifically for the Marines. And I was like, okay, this is cool. And there's a couple different companies that made them. And I found Danner. I started looking at the Danner boots and went down a couple threads of handmade boots and this and that. So I ordered from their factory, a factory seconds. And I started, just from there. And then someone's like, I've always known about whites. And then I started looking into whites. And then it's kind of the same thing. I just buy either on I think my first whites, I bought them for $30 online, a wore out set of lineman boots that the guy used to climb poles.
Right.
And I sent them back and had them rebuilt for $150, and I used those in wildland application. And then when sales or deals would come up, I'd pick them up. And the one that got me into it was I was looking at for videos of what to treat them with, and Wrangler Star popped up doing using his Obanoffs. And so I was like, oh, cool. And so that's kind of how I got onto treating them and doing those
that's
things.
about how long you've been on YouTube, is about when he started. I mean, he might be been a little longer.
I remember when I was following him, he had.
Oh, I loved him back then.
He had under 100. I think he had under 100,000. And I remember him on some of his videos, he was like, yeah, I'm going to do 1 million one day. And I was like, oh, that's exciting. But that's kind of how I found him. And then I was like, I can do a video like that. Not just like I could do one better, but I was like, sweet, I'll do a video and here's what I think. So
yeah, that's awesome. So now what makes a good boot? Why should I buy this boot instead of the Walmart boot or whatever?
Yeah, just you can look into how both the Nicks and the whites and there's a guy named Franks that does it. There's a couple other handmade Northwestern style forestry boots, and they are all leather all the way through, versus even some of the Red Wings, which I like, but they have more, maybe some foam inserts. Their soles are made with different things of instead of like a good leather midsole, it'll be cork. And so there's a boot called Thursday Boots, and early on when they first came out, I was talking with them, and we were going to do some collaborations, but they kind of like, this is when Instagram was taking off, and I was like, hey, Instagram's the way to go. Like, let's do this Instagram thing. And they kind of didn't want to, and they're doing really good right now. Their boots are made in Mexico, and they do good, but it's kind of you can really feel the difference from a boot to how it's made. And some people, I think, really want put the boot on and it's like comfortable out of the box. When you wear whites or Nicks or these boots, you have to break them in. You really have to put 100 hours into them before they mold to your foot. So
the most expensive boot I bought, and this is probably low end to you, but is a Keen, Keen boot.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, it gave me blisters on my blisters. And but after about a week, perfect. It wore into my. And I don't know if that's a good boot or not, but I paid like $160 for them. I thought, man, that's expensive for a boot. Then I start looking at these whites and stuff. I'm like, God, you kidding me?
Yeah, $400 or $500 boots. Yeah.
But if it's worth it, you're on your feet all the time. It's an investment almost.
Yeah, no, I really, when I wear those, I'll start hiking them. I'll do everything, because they really do they're made, completely of leather, thread stitching, glue, and then the rubber sole and nails and tacks. And so as you wear it, as you sweat in it, that bottom insole will really mold to your foot.
Yeah, I'm taking the shoe off right now. I've had this for a little over a year, and I'm going to show you something. And this is a $160 boot.
Tim Bosco says the Wolverine Fullies. Oh, nice.
$160. This is a year's use of this boot.
Yeah, that's a bummer. A year and it's peeling down. Like, that's the Keen.
Yep.
Yeah, stick some shoe goo in there or something.
I will. Something.
Yeah, here's my almost my everydays right here.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I was
These
out splitting wood, so
these are the rainbow sandals made in San Clemente, California. The majority of them are made in China, but you can actually find them either in special places or if you're ever in California. And he has a set that's made right there in California, made in the USA. So these are like I've gone through maybe 3 or 4 of these pairs. They last me about 3 or 4 years, and when I'm not wearing boots, I wear the flip flop sandals. It's all leather. They guarantee you that this won't pull out before the bottom wears out. So if you can pull this out, destroy them before the bottoms wear out, they'll give you a new pair. And I haven't done it yet. But
Journey North says we just wear extra toughs boots.
Extra tough boots every day
all year here.
Is that a Walmart special? Is extra tough Walmarts? What are those?
I have no idea, but I doubt it because he's all into quality stuff. But who knows? I buy stuff at Walmart before too.
Alaska. Yeah, Alaska's a lot different. When you're really harsh chemicals, harsh environments, I think the full leather natural fibers will really get messed up. Some of those guys are working oil, working, hardcore stuff. You need to really step it up to do a boot that has synthetic stuff in it. So it does make sense when you got that type of thing.
Yep. You got it, Ironwood. He says, I used to Red Wing loggers because of the big shank. I don't know what that. But
so the Red Wing,
you're into Red Wing, right?
I like Red Wing. They do make a good boot. The Red Wing loggers, they have a metal shank in them. And so some people say if you're working fires and you're walking over hot embers, that shank will heat up and really burn your foot. That's kind of the thing for the whites and the nicks, is that the shank is a really thick leather shank. That's what gives you the rigidity of your foot. So that's why a lot of people will use the smoke jumpers and those boots. But the Red Wing does have that that big shank in there. Sometimes that helps. I've never owned a pair of loggers, but I do. But they are a good pair of boots.
Yeah, and Dino Joe says, I think I want to get some Knicks boots.
So I like them side by side, and so the difference between Knicks they do offer a stitch down. So if you look into how the hand stitch down versus the hands, what do they call it? It's like a new, it's not the Goodyear welt. It is called the Wellington. So back in the day, they'd stitch it all by hand. They'd put the thread through and they'd stitch the bottom to the top.
Right.
Nix has gone away with that to kind of save for time. So the top of the boot over your foot goes down and then it flares out and they stitch around it like that down to your sole. And it's a little bit quicker for them, less cost effective. So they're not doing it as much, but it does theoretically hold better moisture and water getting into it, not waterproof, but when you're in muck and everything versus the hand stitch that Whites does. The one thing that Nix does have over Whites is that Nix is American owned and Whites is owned by ABC Shoe Mart, which is owned by a Japanese corporation that also owns Lacrosse and Danner and a handful of other boot companies. So even though your boots by Whites are made in America and made by Americans in the Pacific Northwest, I guess if you chase the dollar all the way down to where it goes to, it is owned by a foreign company when Nix is not. So if that means something to you, I understand that's big for people.
Right. For sure. That's awesome that you know that.
So
anyway, boots, you know your stuff on boots. So if you had to say, in my honest opinion, this is the best work boot for the money, what would it be?
Work boot. And I guess it would depend on what the work is. If it's just like our chainsaw cutting stuff and doing that type of thing.
Sure.
I would it would really be a toss up between the White smoke jumpers and the Nix. What do the Nix call it? It's the Nix they don't call it the smoke jumper, they call it the hot shot.
Okay.
So the smoke jumper is a guy jump, and the Nix hot shot, those are both basically mirror images of each other. The Nix hot shot does a double layer midsole, and so that acts for extra rigidity. And I think side by side, those you'd have a hard time beating any one of those boots. And those, I think they come with a standard 10 or 12-inch high boot. I wear these ones called the Urban Loggers, and they're a 6-inch boot, and I really like the shorter one, on and off a lot quicker. I don't need to worry about the NFPA. If you step into a hole of ashes and it falling down into your foot, that's kind of why they wear the higher boot. So,
Ironwood Workman says, I need boot that fits my Buckingham spurs. I don't know what that
is. That for climbing?
I would say so. Yeah, I would say yeah.
I'm assuming that's for climbing. If you're going to be climbing trees with them, I know a lot of guys go with the there's a European brand, Keen. I think Keen does some, and then there's another one called I've seen those ones last a long time. But if you're going to do it like a lineman boot, so both
right,
Nicks, whites, and even if you're going to do that, Red Wing, I think, has a pretty good lineman boot also.
I think I'm gonna look into some red. That's one boot I forgot about. A company is Red Wing. I always forget. I'm gonna look into some more of those when I start shopping too, because I saw some of your reviews on there and stuff, and they're pretty impressive boots for, I thought.
The Iron Ranger is a nice boot. It has that toe cap. They have like with a small lug, and they have it with the smooth sole. But if you're just working on flat land, it, in my opinion, it's a really tough boot. And I actually wore one out, sent it back to a guy up in, he works for Truman Boots. They were in Colorado. Now they're up in Washington, I think. So he works for them as a boot builder, but for $160, he rebuilt, maybe it's cheaper, but he put lug soles and everything on my Iron Rangers. And those are the ones with the honey yellowish colored soles. I did a video on those. So
okay. Hey, James Groves, how you doing, buddy? Proteus Patrick's here. Ironwood Workman still. We got some troopers. Mr. J, he said, I still wear tough skin jeans.
Tough skin jeans.
Tough skin jeans? What's that?
Tough skin? Is that who makes those ones? I bought a pair of fire hose pants by Duluth. Not too impressed with them. They had too many pockets on them, and they were too schlubby, too like fabricy. I wanted a little bit more rigid, like the Carhartts make them to where they still have that cardboard feel, like really rigid pants. I like them like that, where they're rigid. You have to break them in.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Gotcha. So, yep, we'll do some boot stuff. Now, axes. You're into some axes too, right? What do you collect them at all? Did you used to? Do you have? Is it just?
I've done a little collecting. I was on the eBay, went down the Sager Chemical. Those are some really cool history of what the Sager Chemical axe is.
Yes.
And it'd be interesting to get some more history on that. The gentleman who made it, who allegedly had some kind of chemical post-forging dip, or it was in the process that no one else have been able to reproduce. And so, you can find it, and they stamp the year on it. You find one from the 20s or 30s or 40s. That's some really cool history.
Yeah. I tell you, there's two people that I know that would talk to you in a second. That knows a lot about what you're talking about there. One is Chris Killinger, and then the other he's actually on the forum right now, Journey North. He would too, but yeah, you guys go sub Kimball Cody, man. He's got a lot of cool videos and stuff, and been around the game for a long time, and such a cool dude. But so. Can let's talk about what's going on here recently with you, man? With this is a big subject. It's kind of it's a decision, like a life-changing decision. That some of the decisions you had to make, and it's not just you. It's not just you and your wife. It's you and your children, your family. You have a big family, and this world is crazy right now, and some of the decisions that you have to make, if you even have a job, to stay at that job, that and then someone like you who works in public safety and who's worked there for a long time, and I don't know if they consider you a veteran or not, but how long you got to be doing that for that. But I've worked in government, and I know I actually still work in government, but I know that the decisions that you'd have to make because I know you enjoyed your job, and I'm sure you're really good at it. And, to some of these decisions that it's like, boom, above even some of the people telling you what to do, right? I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know what I'm trying to say. It breaks my heart is what it does, that to see someone in that position. So can you kind of start from the beginning on that, man? And just
I can go back. I don't know if you're hearing feedback from the wind or not, but
no, not at all.
Okay, my volume's still good. Okay,
absolutely.
Yeah, the whole 2 years ago, we don't have to use buzzwords. We kind of all know what we're talking about. I don't know if we're tiptoeing so they don't throttle us or whatever, but
absolutely,
whatever, we understand what happened 2 years ago. And at work, I was a firefighter paramedic since '08, and with a tribal community out here in Arizona called Salt River Pima Maricopa Indian Community, and they're in the state retirement fund, Scottsdale addressing, if you're familiar with the area out here. And so we're kind of in the metro area. And what up, buddy? Can you go get my jacket, the brown one? And
what did it get down to 75 today?
I know it's a chilly 60 right now with a wind. It's probably not even that cold.
That's horrible. Yeah.
Yeah. But 2 years ago, we felt, hi buddy, how you doing? Good. It's my youngest there.
No, right ahead, buddy.
We went camping, and the month of March is when at work it started really heating up, and they're not sure what to do. What type of policies and procedures we should do? Should cancel their leave? Should we, there's a bunch of stuff going on, and I had some camping scheduled with my kids, taking 2 or 3 days off, and we're going to go and camp. And they were going to cancel that, but in the last minute they let me go through with it. And so my Carhartt full swing jacket. I've done a video on this too.
I saw that video.
This is the I guess it's fire rated. I think it's for welders. So it is the.
Oh, it's above.
What is this? NFPA 2112 meets requirements of lower body, upper body coverage. Anyways.
Yeah, there will be like a number 2 or 3
dash
fire resistant. Yeah.
ULI. Anyways, flame resistant garments and protection of industrial personnel against short duration thermal exposures. 2112-2018. Anyways, I got it just because it was a sweet jacket.
It is a sweet jacket.
So, Sierra Trading Post again. This is where it's like 100. I think it's maybe it's a $200 or $300 jacket. I think I got it for like $70. So that's the thing. I never pay full price on my stuff. So anyways, back to camping. We went camping, and this is dealing with like a month and a half of like what's going on. And I put my kids to bed, and I felt like just this heaviness come upon me while I was sitting there at the fire. It was a spiritual, emotional, mental experience that this heavy feeling came upon me, and I was just sitting there staring at the fire as the kids went to bed, and it was April 1st, and I was just like, what do we do? And so we come home, go back to work, and I started talking with the wife, and I said, hey, we have to be keenly aware of what's going on. I think mandates are coming our way. This is 2020. And so from there, I started praying and fasting specifically about this topic. And I did 2 and 3 day fasts, a 4-day fast. And so over the next, I'd say year and a half, I'd probably did a combined 40 days of fasting.
Wow.
And just so that I can know the will of God in my life. I really took it to where like, I don't know what to do. Like, show me what you need to do.
That's
And
awesome. That's awesome.
and so I asked my wife, like, what do you think we should do? And I'm Mormon, I'm LDS. And so if anybody knows about Mormons, I mean, you can look them up. I'm sure a lot of bad things, but there's one prophet that we believe in that lived in Jerusalem, and his name was Lehi. And he had a similar experience to where he was worried about the people that he lived with. And so he went and prayed and asked the Lord what he could do. And the Lord told him to go and flee the city and to go into the desert and to leave. And so I asked my wife, like, what is our Lehi moment? Like, what are you willing to do to leave behind if the Lord tells us to go and do it? And she said, I don't know. And I said, mine is like live in a single wide trailer with 6 kids and dig ditches, like literally manual labor to provide for our kids. I'm willing to give up everything. And if you would have gone 6 months, if you would have gone 2019 and asked me what I was going to do, I was like 20-year pension, and I do this and I do that. And I do, I had it in my mind where it's like, nope, I can't leave my job. I can't start over again. And it came to the point where my heart was really softened to where I can truly walk away from all of this and just leave it behind and be done. And so I'd say June, July of last year, I really felt the crunch coming. And I said, we're going to have mandates by the end of the year. And they came a lot quicker than I thought. August 20th, the mandate came, and I was at work. And of course, it was a Friday, and it was at 4:00 when everyone goes home. But as firefighters, we work 24-hour shifts.
Right.
And I went out and sat in the bay with the apparatus, and the air conditioning can get real cold. So I was warming up in the warm bay. Just, August days in Phoenix area is really hot. And I was sitting there just kind of thinking, like, not so much woe is me, but just kind of the heaviness of the situation.
Right.
And I had 3 things come to me, and it said, remain in honor, make no false claims, and act out of love. And those 3 things are really what I lived for from that time until I was fired on October 1st. And I had chances to get fake IDs. I had chances to go and get to a vaccine clinic and get a vaccine, wink, wink, squirted on the ground and give you the card. There's a lot of different ways where I could have like gone around about, being dishonest, not being honorable. And so I chose, I was like, no, this isn't something that I want to, even if it's, a job that potentially can be a 6-figure job. I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. And so people ask me, they're like, well, what do you think? And I said, I'm praying that my heart will be changed, that if it's just simple as just taking this mandate, or then I'll do it if that's what I feel God needs me to do. And I was at work maybe a week before I got fired, and we were doing a standby in the ambulance at a vaccine clinic, and just standing by in case anything went down. And in my mind, I was sitting there watching people go in and out, and I said, okay, I can go and walk in there and get it done, and then there'd be no heartache. And as I envisioned myself walking in there, I felt nothing but anxiety and fear and worry. And then so I took myself back and I said, okay, October 1st, I go home to 6 kids and a wife, and I don't have a job, and possibly cash out my pension early and do all this. And when I visioned myself doing that, I felt calm, I felt collected. And so that was kind of like confirmation of what I'm doing is right. And so fast forward 4 months, 3 months to the day, actually, I got offered for another position up here in central Arizona, 2-hour drive, but we work 2 days on and 4 days off. So I cruise up cruise up in the morning, work 2 days, and I'm off for 4 days. So they call it a 48-96 schedule. So, prayers have been answered, and I'm back into the system again, but at the same time with the idea that this can all happen again. And, my thoughts right now are to really develop a second set of skills, be it chainsaws, be it handyman, be it something else. So I don't have to rely upon this the whole entire time. So
so question really quick, and thank you for your story, man. I just,
no problem.
It's so awesome. And first question I have is, were there people around you, your coworkers, your brothers, pretty much at the station, saying, hey, I don't have a choice, I can't afford not to take the jab or whatever? I got to do this even if I don't want to, or anything like that. People on the fence, or people that did not want to do it that did it. And
There
you don't
were.
have to answer that if you don't want.
Yeah, no. There were 30 of us. There were 80 firefighters there. There's about 80 plus or minus a few firefighters at that department, and there were 30 of us that we counted that did not want to do it. For religious, for medical, for whatever reasons, and little by little it got whittled away, and it was truly a isolate, separate, and what is the word? It was truly a mind warfare type of thing.
Sure.
To where, in my experience is just like you said, it came down to debt. Like people could not,
right,
because of their debt, because of their toys, because of their cars, because of their homes, because of their lifestyle, they could not give that up. I think we were blessed leading up to this. And it wasn't like I all of a sudden made the decision in a month. I mean, I go back 4 or 5 years to when we started consolidating debt and getting out of debt, to where we had a chunk of change left over of debt that I'd consolidated years before. And I had a dream in November, maybe end of October, November. And it was like in the dream, it was like, get out of debt. And I had the dream again. And then I had a really strong impression the next week. And I'm like, I have this chunk of savings money and I have this debt at a really low interest rate. There's no reason to pay it off.
Yeah,
but
sure.
I took, it wasn't all of our savings, but I took that and paid it off. And I don't know why I had to do that. I haven't been confronted with anything, but I didn't call Dave Ramsey, but we really, end of December, we were debt free, without a job. And I think that was a blessing. And I look back on that to where, biblically speaking, I believe that we as a people, as a nation, as a world, as a culture, are more enslaved than the children of Israel were in Moses's time, because they were taken before that. They were taken captive into Babylon, and they were taken captive by the Assyrians and all these different groups of people, like physically with chains about their necks into captivity. But yet what chains do we have about our necks of debt? And if God truly calls us to go and to leave or to do whatever he wants us to do, I think the majority of us can't do it because of debt. Like how can you get up and leave and go if you're indebted? And debt, in my opinion, is sin. Yeah. And I'm not saying you're going to hell for debt, because everybody's in debt, and I was in debt, and people are in debt. And right now we rent, and I was like, I don't know how I'm going to buy a house without debt. And I just say, well, I didn't see myself how I was going to get a job, and the Lord opened doors. So I'm hoping that there will be doors open that we can get into a house, without debt. Is it possible? Is it impossible? I don't know.
Well, I'll be praying for you myself, buddy. And I love that, man. I love your vision on all this. I love your perspective and optimism. It's just refreshing to hear, in today's, like you said, culture, and it's few and far between. Our grandparents would literally whip our hind ends if they knew about all this debt stuff that we're starting and we're doing, and all, And
I look back, like, what did they do? Like, I think it's simple as, what did they do back in the day? They got 20%. They went to someone that was selling, and they'd pay that individual the 20%, and then they'd make them payments. And there wasn't usury. I mean, if you want to look at truly what usury and what increase is, like what happened a week before Christ was killed, he went into the temple and he flipped the tables up and he said, "Get out of my Father's house." Yeah. These money changers were making money off of poor people that came to worship and sacrifice in the temple. They were taking advantage. They were grinding the face of the poor, as Isaiah says. And yet we, as a Christian nation, as people, are doing that time and time again. Is there, biblically speaking, where we can loan money and take loans? I think there is, but the way that it is set up now, with the huge amounts of interest that are wielded, that we accept. Yeah, it's not like we need to point at the banks and say, you're the bad guys. We accept all of this. We as a people are taking this upon us.
That's where you're getting at with the sin. Exactly.
So yeah, I don't think that I'm trying to condemn people who are in debt or who have debt. It's one of those things, just our mortal frames have natural proclivities to sin. So yeah, we'll always be sinful, but that's one of the things that we can.
Let's get real here. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that we are more in debt? Even our nation. It's not one person that did that. It's not one body or one nation, one person in the nation that did that. You know, why are we so in debt in 2022, do you think?
I've thought about that. Like, where does it go back? And I've thought about what truly makes our culture where we are. My opinion is it goes back to maybe the destruction of the 3-generation household, which I think goes all the way back to the Social Security that empowered the elderly to then go do their own thing. Not like it's bad to give them what they've worked for, but that's then told our elderly that they have their own, they don't need to give any more to anybody else. And then our parents, the boomers, I don't know if your parents are boomers, then having that growing up with that pension style, I get everything, this is what I deserve. And now our generation and the generation after that it's like, we truly feel we deserve this. We deserve this home. We deserve this new car. We deserve these things for whatever reason. And I truly believe it's over 100 years of cultural indoctrination that have been put in by whoever the powers that be are. But it's not like they're the bad guys. They've just offered up those services and we have taken them upon ourselves.
Okay, right. That's a good answer. Now, can I add to that? In my humble opinion, there's an escape plan. There's an insurance policy, if you will. If you go in debt, unless it's, of course, you know, school debt, ask me how I know. What happens if you can't pay that debt? You can file bankruptcy. You can file bankruptcy, right? So there's too many like escape plans. There's too many. Our grandparents, for example, right? Like we were saying, they said their philosophy is if you don't, and not just money, if you don't have it, you don't take it. If you don't have money, you can't buy that if you want it. If you don't have money. If you don't have food, you can't eat. If you don't have a car, you can't drive. If you don't have a whatever, right? It's not, we don't think like that anymore. It's like, oh, I can have that. I want that. It's beyond I can have that. It's I want that, and then I'm going to get it, and I don't care about the consequences.
Yeah, I had a friend that she bought a 2018 Corolla, and she's like, "Oh, I bought it for $20,000." I was like, "What are the payments?" She's like, "Oh, $300 and some odd dollars a month." I was like, "For how many months?" She's like, "Oh, for this many months." And I added it all up, and I was like, "Yeah, you're going to be paying like $32,000." She's like, "No, I'm only paying $20 some odd thousand dollars." I was like, "Add up $300 and some odd dollars times 72 or whatever months." I was like, "That's what you're paying." She's like, "Oh, okay." And I'm like, "Or you can buy a $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 vehicle, and you know that has 100,000 miles on it, but no, I don't want anything that's not reliable." I'm like, okay, it's just...
right. And then save your money, and but you know, in a year or so, you know, you have your money, then you trade your car in, and then right, yeah. No, it's I want the best thing, and I want it now, right? It's something, man. That's one value I did not pick up from this generation.
Well, I learned, I bought a new truck back in 2006. I bought a Tundra, and we had a house. Probably could have kept the house, but I was letting fear run me to where I was worried about everything going on back in the crash of 2008. And so I let that house go when I probably should have stuck with it. But, you know, live and learn. And since then, I haven't bought another new vehicle. We've bought used, and I've learned to fix things. And we've been lucky to where we've, you know, been able to be out of debt the majority of serious debt as we've been married. But yeah, to think that I've thought about even going in church and giving talks or in Sunday school talk about those things, but I really think it's so foreign to a lot of people that it really does hurt feelings. And unless you can truly have just an intimate one-to-one conversation of what debt is, I think it's taken wrong. And well, how else are you supposed to do it? How else am I supposed to be a doctor? How else am I supposed to be a dentist or this and this and that? I'm like, I don't know, but you know,
here's one for you. Here's one for you. A young kid comes up and says, "How am I supposed to build my credit?" And what do you say to them?
I would say, so I like to play the game. I know Dave Ramsey is hardcore against it. I like him, and I think he has a lot of good points. But I saw one guy showed a thing of Dave Ramsey's book, and he was sitting in a bathtub with like cold water running on him. He's like, I listened to Dave Ramsey, and now I still can't buy a house because the prices have gone so far up, right? He's just waited and get your 20% down. And so I would say play the game, get a few credit cards and use them for gas and this and pay them off every month, and just don't buy stuff that you can't afford type of things. I mean, I think you need to play the credit game. I know he's against the FICO score, don't worship the FICO, and maybe if we all did that, we get away from that, but I'm kind of in between.
The problem comes where it's just too easy to get money. And you're like, oh, I'll just do this on it too. Oh, shoot, something came up, man. I can't afford this. Oh, I'll just get some gas here. I'll get some groceries here, some this, that. And then all of a sudden you have this huge debt, and then you can't pay it or whatever.
Yeah.
And you start paying these. Then it gets to a point where you start withdrawing cash from it. And there's a different interest rate on that cash. And it just rabbit hole, it's just,
I never got down that far. I got to a couple points where I would transfer one balance to another to get a better interest rate, but then I pay those off. I've heard of people chasing those balance to balance transfers, and then, like you're saying, pulling cash out. And that happens, versus, like you were saying, our grandparents or great grandparents might have been like, well, I need to work a couple of extra Saturdays if we want that truck or that vehicle. I'm going to have to work, and there's not really that attitude. It's like, I work my 40 hours and I deserve this, and everybody else is in debt, so why can't I be in debt?
Yeah, so Cabot Bluegill says because there's huge money to be made in debt. And again, he's right, but that's their business. We don't have to say, hey, okay, we don't have to sign the dotted line like that. It's interesting with everything from the more disgusting underbelly stuff in society, like just don't participate, just don't do that, don't contract. It's all with contract, it's all with your consent. And it's the same thing with my work. People are like, I couldn't do it because I had to. I'm like, you didn't have to. But how else am I going to get a job? I'm this many years, I'm 50 years old, and I'm just like, I was like, I don't know. Of all the people, there was 4 of us that quit. I had 6 kids, another guy had 2, and the 2 other guys had no kids. But it's like, of anybody, I had the most reason to stay working. It's like, I got 6 kids. My oldest is 13. My youngest is 2. It's like, that's, and I'm pretty sure I had family members that didn't tell me straight out, but I'm sure they thought in their private conversations that I was an idiot for doing what I was doing. And I know a lot of people had to. And on my video, you can go in there. There's one lady that spoke out against me. I know her personally from some carpentry groups here in Arizona that we've met up with. And she came right out and said, she's like, you did not get fired. You quit because of your harebrained conspiracy ideas, this, and that, and blah, blah, blah. And so I responded to her and I said, well, if my harebrained conspiracy ideas are praying and fasting and feeling that God answered my prayers, then yes, those were conspiracy harebrained ideas. Mm-hmm. But as I saw a lot of other bots. Let's take religion out of it. Okay. And you can't. I know. I understand that. You can't. Especially.
No, that's fine. Yeah.
But you understand what I'm trying to say here. Let's take all of that out of it. I own this body. This is my body. I can do what I want to with this body. Right?
Yep.
No, wrong. I mean, just saying that choice. That you can do that with so many things. For someone to say, well, you can't do what you want to your body if you want to work here. That's the issue. I mean, I don't know. Did you have people that you worked with? Again, you don't have to answer this, but did you have people that you worked with that like really broke down and said, I don't know what I'm going to do, and they're still like that? Or people, any other success stories that you know of? You don't have to name any names. I'm just curious.
There were 4 of us that stood on principle. The tribe would only accept medical exemptions. So all 4 of us went and got medical exemptions from doctors, and they denied all 4 of us.
Can you believe
there were other individuals who got them. See, I grew up with all 3 in a very small home, very, very lucky. Yeah, Ironwood Workman, I appreciate your comments earlier about being humble, humility, and everything. I agree with you. I understand this until I was much older. Yeah, kind of back to what he was saying. I'll get back to but the 3 generations of the small farm. No, my thoughts are like that. I believe is important. Like, if we truly are, right now, everything that I have, I would liquidate and give to my children, like everything. we'd lay down our own lives for our kids. I would get rid of all my finances. I'd sell all my chainsaws and my leather boots. Really,
it's why we're here, to procreate. It says it in the Bible.
And to carry on. Yeah, it's the first commandment: multiply and replenish. And so my thoughts, going back to like when this all started, I guess that first question, and I really think it's the breakdown of the 3-generation household, to where it has empowered the seniors and their kids to then break away and live their life once they're done, like as if parenting and raising kids and grandkids was like such a burden. When we look back to the in my mind, the grandpa that owns the farm, that's retired and can't operate anymore, but he sits there on the porch and he gives his wisdom and his knowledge and his ideas to the grandkids.
And you'll not find any better knowledge, guaranteed.
Yeah, and so, but then at the same time, he has the humility to know that it's his turn to pass that torch to his son, and he gives everything that he has to his son, his finances, his everything, and so forth. And so I think there's that big disconnect of that selfishness of breaking away, of like, I don't owe my kids anything. I'm done. I'm just going to be a grandparent on here. And so, I've had these discussions with my moms and my in-laws of like, what? Yeah, so what is it? Like, I want to be a father and a grandfather to where I leave everything, to where the only thing that I'm going to give left is my body in the ground, the nutrients that go up and grow the grass and the trees above me. That's like, I truly want to be liquidated on a spiritual, mental, emotional, financial sense, to where I can give everything. I don't think that'll change. Maybe it'll change when I get old and I'll get all bitter and everything, but the feeling that I have, and then I look at the generation above us, and I'm like, why don't you feel the same way? Right. Doesn't mean you have to give everything and be a slave to them, but why would you not want to live in the mother-in-law quarters, or build a home for those kids that are struggling, or do something to where then you can be a part of their lives? And so everyone has their own reasons, and I'm not trying to judge them or point fingers, but that's kind of where I see that has changed, to both the idea, and then on the flip side, we would go on calls in mobile home parks. There was one on the tribe that was non-native white people, and we'd be in these single wide trailers of these old people just in their own filth. And I used to think like, how dare your kids let you be here? And I used to think that for a long time, like, where are your kids? Oh, they're in Colorado, they're in New York, and mom and grandma's in Scottsdale. We don't want to deal with her. Right. But then I thought, well, maybe it's not so much the kids' fault, but maybe mom and dad was just an a-hole their whole entire life, and they're like, mom has given us nothing. Put her out in a single wide trailer. We don't want to deal with her. So maybe it's a little bit of both. I don't know. I would always try to be puzzled of what's going on. Yeah. And so I guess in a roundabout way, to answer your question of how that, in my view of how that started, I think it really is, that generation before us that has accepted the way things have gone and taken them away from that 3-generation household that, in my view, should still exist. They should still have grandma next door, grandma in the backyard type of thing.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's gone away. The sitting at a table and eating with your family, just that alone. Who does that anymore? Nobody.
Yeah, how many kids know recipes from their grandma, how to make biscuits and gravy, or how many grandmas know how to make biscuits and gravy, can teach their grandkids, or make pie crust, or to do. So I know it's out there. I'm not saying it's not out there, but I think it's the exception and not the rule anymore.
Yeah. And there are a lot of awesome people still in this generation too. And I know you're not discrediting that, but yeah, things are just too easy, it seems like. And it's okay to make a choice for your body if it's this thing, this agenda, or whatever you want to call it, but it's not for this. That's where I have a problem too. Not to keep mixing these conversations up, but come on, man.
No, and along with that, I think, in my opinion, I was really thinking about it. Some of the biggest, I guess, things that our generation, our culture will be held responsible for, by God or the creator, whoever you want to say, I believe, is the way that we treat our elderly, nursing homes, which are disgusting, and abortion. I think on both ends, the elderly going out and the new ones coming in. Not saying that all nursing homes are bad. I understand there's situations where you can, but I think of like, there's a couple here in the Southwest. Most of the Mexicans, Latin Americans do not put their elderly in nursing homes. And so it's like,
I didn't
there's
know
something
that.
to that. They truly, you know, believe in having grandma. I'm sure there are some, but that's a cultural thing. And I wish, you know, we would have that a little bit more too, to take that pride of taking care of grandma, you know, our last few years. But
Yeah. Wow. Chippy's on fire. Thanks, guys.
Chippy, thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks for any sort of super chat. It's all going to Mr. Kimball and his family. Yeah, we got a lot of catching up to do here on. But man, thanks for all the info. Oh man, I'm learning things, and
You read some comments or anything there, or any other questions? Or if we want to shift gears, I'm good with anything. So
yeah, I appreciate it. I know I'm going to put some up here. I do want to go back to one Journey North said. Let me find it real quick here. Yeah, here we go, right here. He says, I don't have running water or indoor plumbing. It's amazing what you can really live without. And this is the guy that lives up in Alaska, or
no, it really is. I think we need so many of these things. I agree with him. It's just like what are we willing to live without? It really is can we live without this?
That's kind of it. My point. The point I wanted to make from this is, I think we're, you know, kind of that last generation that knows that, you know, the last of the, like we started with technology, but it's in nothing like is now. But we remember when there wasn't hardly any technology, right?
Yeah.
So like there is now. And so not just technology, but everything, convenience, you know, all these things, and, credit cards that, all the stuff that you can get for at your disposal, basically. And, but so we might be like the last generation to know what it feels like to live without something. What do you think about that?
I think so. I was thinking about this whole thing of, going through all this past 2 years and thinking, like, I was kind of bumming, like, man, my kids won't know what it was like just going to school and not wearing masks, not doing anything. My kids have never worn a mask. So going back, that was my big thing, is like the masks. And luckily we were at a charter school that they didn't require it, but I was kind of bumming about that. And then Dan Bongino, I think it was, and he did did a clip on New Year's, and he showed the Times Square in New Year's, and he was showing how my kid's gonna be chopping some wood there. Oh, okay, you can use that one, buddy.
Yeah, no
and
worries.
He was like, look at what the Democrats have done. Look at how horrible this is. There's no one down there at Times Square. It's such an awful thing. We've lost this wonderful blah, blah, blah. And in my mind, I thought, is that necessary? That so many hundreds of thousands of people go and sit in a concrete jungle and watch an imaginary ball drop on some random day that doesn't mean anything. You know, December 31st, like, what does it mean? It's a random day that's been assigned on this day, and it has nothing to do with the stars in the heavens or the moon or the sun or anything that God put above us to
follow the leader.
Yeah. And so I'm like, maybe this stuff needs to be pulled away. Maybe it's necessary that we go through this, and it's hard to think of all these things that are being stripped away from us and all these like requirements and mandates. Well, maybe we just don't participate in the things that require that. Maybe if they require that we go, I can't shop at Costco because I didn't wear a mask, so I canceled my membership. And then they dropped it, so I went and redid my membership. But if we all did that, like, you see people going and like begging their school councils and begging, honking in front of a building or yelling at just don't participate. It's like, what are you doing? I mean, on top of that, people are like, I'm going to go wave a flag if it comes through, Phoenix and the trucker rally and everything. I said, did we not see what happened January 6th? And did we not see what happened in Canada? And we think that ours is going to be any different? Like, if we truly believe that that is wrong, then stay local. If you're a trucker, maybe give a local mom and pop shop some reduced shipping charges, stay here and do something here. But why are you deadheading all the way 3,000 miles across the country to honk in an empty building in front of a street to do what? To do what? And so I know that that's a lot of people want to support that. I just look at that like,
well, there's other ways you can support it. You could go, and I get that. I get what you're saying, and I hope people don't take that the wrong way. I get what you're saying. Look, I can make it. I know everyone on here can relate to this. I can make a YouTube video and spend half of the day making that YouTube video, and including editing and everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it gets crap views, no interaction, blah, blah, blah. I can go make a short or a shorter video or whatever and spend 10 minutes on it. It can just blow up.
Yeah,
right?
I've done that. I've seriously spent days on a video and it's nothing. 300 views. Another one that I just like.
That I know of that has a bigger video than me, actually. I'm almost at 1 million on one of my videos. You got
nice,
like 1.2, 1.3 million on one of yours, the charcoal one.
Yeah, there's another one right there too. I forget which one is one of the Red Wings ones is almost close. But anyways,
okay, but yeah, so what, and hopefully this is what you mean. You may not, and it's fine. The logic behind that is, what are you good at that you can help support this cause? Are you good at driving a truck and going there and honking at an empty building? Would your time be better spent doing that, or would your time be better spent going, do whatever? So that's what I got from it. And how can you impact this the most, you personally, if you really want to add to this cause? How can you do that? I don't know.
No, I'm with you. I'm the same type of thing, to where even I've been invited to go do. I went and spoke with the Arizona legislature a little bit, and it really didn't. I don't think anything came of it. And my thoughts were, when I went down there with my wife and kids, I'm like, okay, here's the code word. If we feel that we're being used as props, then let's get out of here. And I really do think that people have their agendas. And I think when it comes down to it, it's like, what do you need to do as a man and as a husband, as a father, to support those kids and do what is right? And I think sometimes it's, it is a lonely road to tread, like to stand up and to get fired over this. There were lonely nights of laying in my bed, with my wife next to me, she's asleep. And I'm just like, I didn't doubt what I did, but it was just kind of like, man, this is tough.
Yeah.
Like sure. I gave up everything, and what's going to come of this? And
I couldn't imagine.
And so I think we need to be willing to do that as individuals, to truly be willing to give up everything. And if we give up everything and it utterly fails, then that's okay. That's like what needs to be done. And I think a lot of people aren't willing to even do half of that, like to truly risk even a bit of that, because, and I kind of say the same. One guy kind of was telling me, he's like, well, the statistics show this and this and this and that. And I said, okay, those people that are making the mandates, I would just like them to put everything on the line, their whole entire professional reputation on the line, so that if they're wrong, they will then face worse consequences than me. But they won't. Why would they do that? I was like, that's only fair. If we're truly on like a universal, if you truly believe this, then man up and say what you believe, because I did. And I truly bit the bullet and took it where it was, and took it to the end. My personal beliefs of individual medical freedom is more important than a pension, than a job, than this. And
they're allowed to be wrong. See, that's the difference.
Yeah. And it destroys people. I mean, I don't want to say destroys. I mean, I didn't want to go down that. And I've tried to, like, I guess, how long do I talk about this? It's not like I'm the victim. I didn't want to be like, oh, so woe is me.
And so everyone knows, I asked you, kind of begged you a little bit to come on in here, give your story, because I think it's very inspirational. And, you may have been done with it, and I hope I don't bring up too many demons.
No, it's okay.
I think it's an incredible story, man. And, and there's a lot of people, like I was kind of saying earlier, there's a lot of people that would not do what you. I can't sit here and say that I would do what you did. I can't.
Yeah, and that's fine. I had people that did it before, and then people that during the time, and I hold no ill will for them. My chief, when he sat me down and gave me the paper of my termination, I told him, I was like, I have no ill will towards you. I was like, I know that you're wrong, and I believe that this is a very cowardly act. but I do not hate you for any reason, and I don't have any ill contempt to it. That doesn't mean that what they're doing, I don't try to absolve them or take away anything of that is theirs. That
And
what
that's
they did is
hard.
wrong.
That's
But
got to be hard because everyone has a boss,
Yeah.
So who's the person that says, okay, yes or no? That's the thing.
Well, I looked at it this way too. They did mandatory testing, random testing, and that's how they got the numbers of who had taken it and who didn't. And I think he could have jumped in. This was months before. If I was a leader, I would have been saying, everybody, if you get a mandatory test, go and take it. Their thing was like, well, if you got this medical, then just show it to us. Show us that you haven't. You won't need to be tested. I think if he would have gone to everybody and said, there are people on both sides, we will be testing and we will not reveal our status. And I think that would have helped save. Then it's just like, no, we're not going to do it. We're not going to tell you who has done it or who hasn't. And what do you do? Fire the whole fire department? But he caved, and then little by little everybody else caved. So hindsight is 2020. But I saw that from the get-go, and I said, this is what we need to do. And
here's one of our brothers from Canada. He says, stranded hour and a half float, I don't know, plane flight, no one around, no food besides fresh fish and lake water. I've prepped a bug out location and tools in case things go bad, especially now. Hey, you can never be too prepared, I think,
I think so. I'm all for, and so what I learned too is that I don't think people are going to be coming in, kicking our doors and taking our guns. I truly believe with how fast people wore the masks, people that I knew that I thought, like, we never wore masks. We got kicked out of restaurants and grocery stores because, and I was like, I will not make my kids wear it. I mean, I had to wear it at work, so I guess maybe I didn't, I wasn't as principled as I should have been, but I look back at to where I truly don't think people are going to be kicking in our doors for our things. They will make life so inconvenient that we will then submit, and we will turn in our guns for a loaf of bread, or we will do this. And I think it goes back to both maybe having that bug out location, but also I think if we were to know 10 people within 10 miles of like-minded individuals, I think we can just get through anything. Yeah. So where, hey, my kid broke his leg and I don't have enough money for the doctor bill, 9 other people can put together $200-300 each and pay for this kid's doctor bill, and so forth. And more I've learned is going through this, I don't think it's just strictly churches, religion. I think it's going to be like-minded people of all walks of life.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. Yeah,
no, that's true, Nate. I don't think people will ever have to give up anything. They've shown that. They've flip-flopped on so many things. So
yeah.
And I'm not going to go
pulling down their mask to sneeze.
If people were like, what would you do? I wouldn't. If I was in the position of power to fire the people that fired me, or to go after them financially, and hold. It's like to me, it's like, no. It's like I just don't. I don't care. And when you look at the Democrat-Republican thing, I voted for Trump twice. It really is now. It seems like it's flipping now to where all the Republicans are acting the same way that they acted towards Trump, towards Biden. I'm like, why don't we just be done with it? Just live our lives, and it's like realize that this guy isn't going to affect us in our lives at all unless we let him.
Right. See, I have a lot of the same values, I think, as you. You kind of have to play a little bit politically. You don't have to. I absolutely, and I've worked in government my whole working life, and in one way or another. And I don't know if it's that, but I absolutely cannot stand politics. Like when somebody starts talking about politics, because I think, and I didn't mind it back, like when my mom talked about it and dad back growing up, and even before that, or a little bit after that, but in my teen years. But there's so much. I think it's just because I hate division in a nation. Let's just start there. In a world, yeah, I hate division in a world. But I can only see here, and I hate division. I hate when we divide ourselves. And that's exactly what's happening politically too. And it's never been so divided ever. And it's relentless. It's disgusting, is what it is. And you live by example. I mean, you want people to not be divided, yet look at who are, look at your platform. Look who you're teaching all these people about all this division. It gets ugly. And, it just because your party's divided, it doesn't matter what it is. It's still division. And people can look at that and bring it to the playground. The kids can, oh, I've heard it from my kids. Oh, you like Biden? Oh, you like Trump? Oh, and it's all over TikTok and all these things they watch and Minecraft and chats. And it starts at the top, man, No,
I agree. I truly believe that we as a people, and sorry, go back religious, and I don't mean that, if it offends people, but to me, it goes back to we as a people will get what we get with what we put out. And I think we as a people, our acceptance of debt, our acceptance of immorality, our acceptance of dishonesty in our personal lives, the amount of dishonesty and the amount of pornography that we look at, the amount of just go down the list of everything that we accept in our personal lives.
Division. I mean, we
amplify that. Yeah, that is what we get. That is what we get over as a whole. So people think like, oh, I didn't vote for Biden. I didn't. It's like, well, we as a whole, that is what we as a society did, because as individuals in our individual homes, we are being dishonest, we are being immoral, we are doing all these things, so we're bringing this upon ourselves. And I think if we can do that, start out in our homes of choosing, like, I will not participate, I will not do that, I will not take those loans, I will not look at that stuff on the internet. I think as we do that, we can truly heal our nation from our homes up, and raise our kids to know to make good decisions.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Small baby steps, little things. And nobody's perfect, but it's like, like this let's split this challenge, about men's mental health that I'm trying to push. That same logic, that same concept can go so far, with splitting challenges, splitting these burdens, splitting responsibilities, and just reaching out to other people. It can help a lot. Have you seen that at all? That Let's Split This Challenge yet? I
haven't seen that. No.
It's basically we're trying to raise awareness for men's mental health. It's called Let's Split This.
Okay.
And, it's a challenge.
Oh, I have seen that. The splitting the axe thing. Okay, I have seen that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the challenge that try to upload a video, 10 minutes of you splitting wood, to clear your mind. See how gratifying it is. See that get that sense of accomplishment, because we're, again, these numbers have never been higher. Not only with men's mental health, but women's mental health in general. Divorce rates, to go back on what you were talking about, divorce rates have never been higher. Young kids growing up without a father, never been higher, never ever been higher. There's so many things. The list is so big, and and these values and these morals are just going away from everybody. Just like what you were just talking about. I don't know, man. It's really sad to see.
I agree. There's where does it say? It talks about, I need to pull it up. I'm not good at quoting the exact scripture, but it talks about bearing each other's burdens and confessing your sins one to another. And I think truly men, in the past, they used to have groups that would hang out. The warriors would hang out around the fire. And there truly is that time where you're like, hey, I'm failing here. I'm not doing good here. I should try this. And that really is when you hold each other accountable, when you can be vulnerable around each other emotionally, and you can overcome things. I think you're right. There is something to that we truly do lack. And I think that splitting the wood has something to do with it. We have such a society that is in the cubicle doing this. And in the end of the day, they're like, what did I really do? I just hit a bunch of numbers. It's like, and maybe that's why I think a lot of these survival, Les Stroud and all these things are really big, because I think men truly want to be able to be productive. to make something with our hands.
Yes.
And I think it's simple as a garden. It's something as simple as splitting wood, as, you know, starting a chainsaw. And I think there's something to that. I think more and more we're coming around to where men want to be productive again. Doesn't mean they have to give up their cubicles, but it's easy to do things on the side.
There's nothing wrong with being a weekend warrior. You know, if that's what keeps you sane, going out and, you know, splitting some wood, going out fishing, going out, you know, doing manly stuff or whatever, you know, that term is, I mean, you know, it's bred into our DNA. It really is, you know, you know, these instincts and these things, you know, this gratification. We're made to sweat. We're made to exert ourselves. We're made to do complicated exertion, you know, and work. We're made to work. All humans are made to work. And nobody can say that when they sweat and when they, you know, get their heart rate up for, you know, 10, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, that they don't feel better and gratification from that. You can't say that. It's
I agree.
gratifying. So but let's see what kind of questions we got here. We got God bless the Ukraine.
I don't want to go down.
That's a whole nother thing.
So if anybody wants to go down a weird rabbit hole, go on windy.com/webcams. Windy.com is a weather website. You can look up anywhere in the world and you can click on webcams. It's harder on your phone, go on your computer, but you can look at webcams in individual cities. I challenge you to go in Ukraine and click on webcams in Ukraine and tag me or send me over a link where you see tanks and personnel and bombs going off in Ukraine. I have not found it yet.
Right.
So people are like, so you don't believe anything? I was like, something's going on, but I'm pretty sure that it's not what they're telling us and showing us. So
yeah, I agree. There's definitely something going on. And you know, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I know that not everyone's ever perfect in acts of war, but I just hope they get it resolved soon. Because
what is the that one Chinese philosopher? He says one of the rules of war is confusion or something. One of the number one things is confusion and misinformation. And so seeing all these videos of these planes flying over and this and that, there's one video that I saw.
CGI one? Did you see the CGI one?
I don't know there's the one where the helicopters are flying through the smoke and the smoke is not affected. The smoke is not anything. I'm just like, okay, what's going on there?
There's one that came out 3 days ago. I saw it today, just out of the blue, where they call this guy the ghost pilot or something.
Oh yeah, he's killed 20 already.
I think that's a big gimmick, but he said, I finally caught the guy or whatever shooting down this Russian plane, and it's this video game, and I promise you it looks so real. I never would have thought when I first saw it, I thought it was real action. I could not believe how real it looked. You know, this guy, and he took down this plane.
And it was not. It was real, it was fake.
And until I went down, it was CGI.
There's one where they show the lady bandages with dried blood on her face, and she's like, the article is like, this is blood on Putin's hand. And then someone pulled up the same image of the same lady in 2018 when there was a gas explosion. There was a gas explosion, and it was the same lady, and with just a different one bandage was over the face, another bandage was over here, different wounds, but it's the same lady that got hurt in the gas explosion to where she got bombed a couple days ago. So I'm like, I don't know what's going on. People are like, so I've gone down Instagram, like posting this to people, like, are you sure? They're like, and it's weird. People react in a religious zealotry type of thing. Like, you don't believe in this? You don't think anything is going on? I'm like, I'm just asking questions. Why is it that I can't see anything on these live webcams? And when I go on Snapchat, you can look at Snapchat maps and there's nothing on there. Like, where is all this happening?
Right.
And they're like, and then there was even one where these people were throwing Molotov cocktail bombs on like a tank.
Yeah.
And someone was like, that was from 2014. And the guy took it down really quick. And so it's obvious.
Let's clear the air here. Okay. Russia has one of the largest militaries in the world.
Journey North. How dare you? The media would never lie to us.
Right. They're the first ones to jump in there and try to get any kind of
make money. Yeah, they want the clicks. They want the clicks.
Let's be clear here. Russia has the power of like a United States. If they wanted to demolish a country and take whatever they wanted to do right now, it's just a push of a button. I mean, it's simple. It's that simple. That's my opinion on it. Why is that not happening?
Yeah. Or I got one too. I don't know if you've seen the tank. So the tank is driving and it rolls over the car. And then they cut to the car of them pulling the old lady out of the car. I'm like, I've been on multiple extrications of vehicles less than that, and people just demolish. There's no way that person was sitting in there without a scratch on them.
And just to be clear, hopefully no one. I don't think that we're insinuating that nothing is going on over there.
Yeah, I'm not.
It's not like that. The media, just like Journey North said, the media spins this stuff. Everyone knows, and that's the thing. Everyone knows that they do it, but they still buy into it.
You see the tank hit the car, and I'm like, okay, I think that looks pretty real. And then, but I'm thinking, where are the personnel? Where are his buddies? But I'm assuming it's not a lone tank going through a city. You would have a squadron of tanks or a platoon, whatever it is. I'm sure there's military guys that say there's X amount of tanks in a group. Why is he out going why did he roll over one vehicle and not shoot at other vehicles? And to me, I'm just like, that looks like a rogue. Some dude that got into a tank went driving through town, right? Some random dude that's fired up a tank that knew how to use that, was maybe a few screws loose and went driving through town.
I've seen that before, personally.
Yeah, that happens. Granby, Idaho. So
yeah,
no, Granby, Colorado. That one dude. I
forget it. Yeah, the guy.
Oh, that dude's a legend.
Yeah. Oh, yes, he is. And then they're dragging the United States in it, which I guess I get that because of allies and blah blah blah, but man, I mean, what's your opinion on that?
I just don't think it is what they're showing us. I think it's completely whatever it is. It's not what they're showing us, and I think it's time and time again. It is to get our consent. So there's the idea of an egregore. Look up, it's EG egregore. And it's kind of like hippy dippy kind of spiritual nature, but I lend a little bit of credence to it because we believe if we go to church and we sit and focus on the pastor, on the preacher, we as a body of people are edified spiritually. We receive, we give, and there's something spiritual that goes on in the church. The egregore is even bigger than that we give, whatever we give into it, it gives out. So I take it to the toilet paper shortage 2 years ago, where everybody's minds was worried about toilet paper, and toilet paper, wiping your bum, is like the most basic, disgusting human action we can do. But everybody's mind was focused on cleaning their bums, to where you really think, oh, I'm out of toilet paper. What am I going to do? Oh, I'll use some washcloths and wash the washcloths. I'll use some newspaper, right? But instead, as a society, we were thinking about how dirty our bums might be because we're out of toilet paper. So we gave that energy out, and that energy went out, and I think it was focused on whatever an egregore is, be it an energetic in a culture, in a society. And I think they have been playing, whoever they are, to get our focus of our energy time and time again to be away from what really matters. In my opinion, it's God, it's family, it's our children. And I think this Ukraine thing is just another focus of energy, where when we give, we literally, when we think about something, we are giving that emotional, mental, and sometimes you can feel it physical. You get worn out when you go down the rabbit holes of all this stuff going on. When I think if we pull out, it's like, okay, let's not give this the energy that it is. Well, what is it? What do we have to do? It's like, I think the Canadian truckers thing, that was a big one. It might have been good at the beginning, but I think it was hijacked and co-opted by something else. January 6th could have been the same thing. And I think we need to watch out for these.
Yeah, there's so many possibilities. And, I'm not discrediting, my prayers go out to all those people who have been killed and injured over there, and I just hope for the best for that country. And it's nothing like that. I do want to help those who need help. You know, I hope that we do if they need it. But it's so hard for people to believe what they see now. And
Yeah,
you know,
I think
I get what you're saying. But yeah, probably ought to wrap it up here pretty soon.
getting a little dark here. The sun's going down over here off to the Arizona
nice. Yeah, I was
sunset.
gonna say it's getting hard to see already. So,
so I guess we didn't finish up on the oil. Does oil matter? What oil we use? Does it really matter?
We started with that. Let's end with that.
Well, I should have got one of the Walmart oils, the Walmart 2-stroke oil with the outboard. People lose their minds when you tell people, and I know guys that use 40-to-1, that TCW3 in their chainsaws, but people lose their minds if you use that. It's kind of funny.
Real quick before we go, let's get your assessment on 2-stroke oils.
I like overall. My experience, I've blown up one saw. It was an 880 while I was slabbing, and the temperatures were probably close to 100, and I was in the sun, and I was cutting some really dense Aleppo pine, which is considered a hardwood pine, but it's really sappy, really dense. And I was using Saber, Amsoil Saber, you know, and I was using it at 40-to-1 or maybe 50-to-1 ratio. But my theory is that it burnt up the piston because the tank got halfway down. It was so hot that the gas was boiling. I don't know if you've ever experienced boiling gas.
Yes.
So the gas was boiling, and I think the suction and the gas filter was above the line, and it was boiling, and it was just pulling in fumes, and it was not pulling in any. So it was running off of fumes, and it didn't have any oil to lubricate it, and it just burnt up the pistons. That's my opinion. Other than that, I've never burnt up a saw. I've used a whole 5-gallon jug of gas with 40-to-1 of Walmart. Like here, Johnny North says 41 of everything, and love it. So yeah, Steel Echo. My go-to right now is what is it? The red kind in the red bottle. It is the VP. I've been using VP. I have some of the old Echo. The Echo Red Shield, Echo Red Armor.
Red Armor. That's mainly what I use.
I heard they switched up their the past couple of years. They switched up their formula. I've read
something about that. Yeah, and I have a little bit of.
I've used that. I have some Kawasaki stuff. I have some Domar. I bought a whole case of Domar, but I've used this Technoplate before. There's the original Technoplate, which I haven't had, and I've used this Super. It's a 20% ester, I think. I don't know if it's backwards there for you guys there, but it says.
There you go, Andre. Check this out. He's big into that too.
It's 20% castor oil. And I do like the smell of that. And so it does smell good. So I've used that. People say, I think this one is the one that you need to be careful. Is it this one, or there's the other one where it's the all bean oil that if it's too cold, it will separate. So you need to use it after you mix it.
Yeah, castor. There he goes.
What is the other one that's all the castor oil? There's another, the
20G castor. I don't know. 20% castor. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you here. I can't tell a difference between the dollar store or Walmart 2-stroke oil and as far as performance goes. Over time, maybe, but I've never really tested it over time. But you know, back in the day, I'm like, oh, that looks good. You know, and mix it up. And as far as performance goes, I can't tell a difference at all if it's mixed the same ratio.
The only way I've noticed difference is when I've ran 100 LL limited lead or low lead from the airport.
Killinger chimed in with a late fee. He said,
"Oh, sweet! Thank you so much.
Thanks, Chris.
Appreciate
Killinger.
that.
Love you, brother.
That paid for my oil today. There you go.
Yeah."
But so the only time I've really noticed a difference is with when I switched up and I used 100 octane avgas, and I played around with that to where it it needs a different. The tune is a little bit different, but it feels like the 91, 93 octane pump gas gave me a little bit better output power wise.
Okay, that makes sense to me, but that's a whole big another subject there. That
Yeah,
we'll be
you get into
each other in the comments section.
Yeah, the whole what high octane, if you really need it, really when you get higher up in compression and even I guess there's theories on if a two-stroke motor really even benefits from a higher octane. I've read that,
Right,
but then there's the guy.
because of the combustion and how it combusts.
Yeah.
You're right. The not what am I thinking of, Andre? Not the combustion, but the I know he knows what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Flashpoint, like are you the flashpoint or the burn?
I think it's flashpoint,
Yeah.
like 87 octane versus 95 or 7 or whatever.
And then even you look at the 100 octane rating of avgas is different than a 100 octane race gas. It's not the same octane rating. It's different.
Right.
It's different rate. It's different industry standards. So
yeah, I agree. I agree. There's no need for high octane. Again,
Yep.
Same thing with the oil, but it's actually a little bit more precise with the octane. I can't I put 90, premium in. I've put junk in, like 85 or 87, and cannot tell a difference. I really can't.
Yeah.
But yeah,
the big differences I've seen is
what oil do you use? So what oil do you like using? If you could
right now I have
oil?
just because I'm going through it, I have VP. I have that VP oil.
Yeah.
And I have some of the red the Echo, some of that, and then some of this Technoplate I'll throw in there. But also some more people, I'll add some Seafoam or Marvel's Mystery Oil into it. So I'll throw a little bit of that in my jug too. So
I think before we go, I think we can all agree that ethanol is not good though.
I agree, and I did so where I work up in the mountains. They have Maverick gas station that sells clear gas, which is hard to find here in the valley. They actually, from the pump, they sell, I don't know if it's 89 or 87 octane ethanol free gas.
Now down in Virginia, my uncle, he's a hillbilly. They make some stuff down there you can run small machinery on. It's clear. It's clear. But we'll not get into that.
Yep.
No, but no. What's he saying here? So no need for additives. E sucks. Yeah,
ethanol sucks. Yeah, I mentioned that I add the Seafoam every so often, or the Marvel's Mystery Oil, and that's, again, I don't see anything. So one thing I did add different is there's this what is it called? You add it to your crankcase. It is, all the overland truckers do it. It's it's not like a Slick 50. I'll have to look it up again, but it says that you can add it to your two-stroke. So I've added it to it, and it, again, do I notice anything different? Not really. On the cold startups, it might smoke a little bit more. That's the only thing I really notice difference.
Yeah,
but the big thing is,
go ahead.
When I go work in elevation, so here in Phoenix area, we're about 800 to 1,000 feet elevation. When I go up and cut wood, I'll be up between 5,000 and 7,000 feet. Just within 2 hours, I'll be up that high. And so that's when I really do notice a big difference on a lot of my saws, that I'll have to tune them up there because the elevation.
Killinger said Lucas oil, maybe. Lucas?
No, it's it's a black and yellow jug, and they put it in their crankcase. They put it in their differentials, and it says that it coats everything a lot better. Why can't I think of it? It starts with is it Marvels? It's not Marvels. It's I know right where it's at. What's that? Motor Coat. Yeah, Motor Coat. That's the one.
Yeah. So Charles Briscoe, he's another builder. He said, now he's the one that I would always buy high end everything stuck gas for all my saws, and he poured it out a 7900 for me. And
nice. And yeah, so ask him, Charles, what is his thought on Motor Coat? I guess just in vehicles, or even adding to the two-stroke, unless it's just.
Well, what do you think about that, Briscoe? And he was the one who he's like, just try 87 octane, 50-1 Red Armor, and see what you think.
Yep.
I'm so glad I did, because I'm saving money. And again, on the ethanol thing, if you have a saw and you're running it a lot, I don't see anything wrong with ethanol gas.
No.
Again, performance wise, you let that sucker sit is a different story.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So I don't know.
So here's a story. I went to a steel chainsaw shop here in the area, and I asked him what do they have in their dead pile, and he gave me an 038 Magnum 2. He's like, here it is, it's shot. So I took it, and I took off the muffler. It looked clean, and I opened up the gas, and in the gas there was a puddle of rubber at the bottom where the gas line had just deteriorated and just puddled up.
That's the
I ordered a new line, put it in, that thing fired right up. I sold it a couple months later on eBay for $700. It was made in Brazil. It was one of those, they called them the outlaw saw, the outlaw 038s that were imported for a little while, but since they were from Brazil, they flew under the radar, and then it was interesting. I read up a little bit on them. You can't find too many of them, but some of the 038s you can find made in Brazil, and they're highly sought after, and it sold for $700 on eBay.
That's awesome. Yeah, Briscoe, he says he uses Motor Coat and he likes it. He used to build like 60 race engines, like V8 engines a year, you know,
nice.
And, so he's Killinger's a mechanic too. So
yeah, I should have him help me with my my Ford 351 5.8 liter Windsor 351 Windsor.
Okay, I know Briscoe's a diesel guy, but he knows about all that. But and then I think Killinger might be a square body Chevy guy here soon.
Yeah, it's funny because this one guy was a Chevy guy. He's like, I don't know much about Ford. I was like, they're all pistons and valves, and it's like, what's the difference? You know, Chevy's the spark plugs are like this. Ford's the spark plugs are like this. It's like, what are we? I don't know. I guess if you're a Chevy guy and you can't do it, I can understand if you're a diesel guy and you're a gas guy. But how can you be a gas Chevy and a gas Ford guy and you can't? They all do one or the other. They all rust, exactly.
So, but hey, on that note, man, we probably ought to end here. It's 9:00. We've been on for 2 hours. I did not expect this, but I'm like super happy about it. And I appreciate you so much for coming on, man, taking the time out. I know you got
no problem.
And a lot of
we should do it again.
Dude, absolutely, man. And by the way, I was researching today on how to broadcast this on 2 channels, and I think I may have a workaround on that for free. So
okay. Well, yeah, we'll try it out. We'll try it. I probably need to be doing more live chats on mine also, and posting more videos. So
yeah, I am a computer science major, so
nice.
I kind of got a few tricks up my sleeve. So, but yeah, man. Again, thank you very much. I appreciate it, and I hope nothing but the best for you and your family. You guys are awesome people, and you've inspired so many people, more people than you can imagine. I'm going to tell you right now, I know of a lot of them myself. And it's just so commendable, you know, that what you did, honorable. And it's inspiring to me and a lot of other people, like I said. But on that note, man, thanks so much for coming on. And thanks for everybody who donated to the cause and to and just chatting and saying hi and throwing some questions at it. It went really well.
I think it did too. Again, thanks for everybody for those donations. Thanks for your kind words and everything. And, you know, and thank you for everything. It's really been really humbling to see all this. So thanks.
Yeah, it was very extreme. Chainsaws to, you know, politics. It's like,
Ukraine.
Where can you go see that? No, but yeah, so again, thanks so much for everybody stopping by and saying hey and everything you do. And we'll see you next time, okay? We're out of here.
Good.
Thanks, guys.
Talk soon. Adios.